Yo guys, what's going on? Rob with 421 Media House coming at you again with another deck review. This week I've got the Skull and Bone playing cards by David Blane. This is a super rare deck. I think he only printed like 2,500 of these, and most of them were only available through going to see him on tour and getting a VIP meet and greet package, and then you get the deck of cards included with that. So these cards are fairly rare, and then a couple of them he sold on his website. This tuck case is not embossed at all. It is a black, matte black paper with gold metallic ink on it. So this is actually the front of the tuck case here, and this is the back design of the cards, which is kind of interesting when we flip it over. And then we get this cool ace with the eyeball in it. Fairly simple tuck case. There's not a whole lot to it. A little David Blane indice on each corner there. You got the 4 suits across the top here, and then you've got some Expert Playing Card Company Private Reserve printing on the bottom there. There's not a whole lot to this. This is a pretty cool back design. I'm going to get more into the actual back design of these cards here once we pull them out of the case. David Blane reveal on the flap there. Nothing on the inside of the tuck case. But yeah, it is a nice, it feels like high quality paper. This is actually the first deck I've ever taken a look at that was from Expert Playing Card Company. So on the back here, we got this gold metallic ink with the 2 skulls. There's a crossbones. There's this cool weave pattern around the outside. These are marked cards, and I know they have something to do with the spacing of the circles here, but I don't know too much about how the actual marking system on these cards works. David Blane has said that these are marked, but has not actually disclosed how the marking system works. So there's not a whole lot of information out there about this. If you guys have more information about how the marking system works, leave a comment below. Let me know, because I'm very actually interested in how these work. Cool back design. I mean, anybody that watches the stuff that I do, keeps an eye on my Instagram, knows that I love skulls. So the skull pattern here is pretty cool to see. I dig these. One thing that's actually interesting about this particular deck of cards is you only have 54 cards. You don't have 56 like you do with the USPCC deck. Mirrored jokers, which is really cool, really interesting to see. Something that I actually haven't seen prior to this deck before, but I thought that was pretty cool. I do dig the jokers that come with this deck. It's pretty unique and interesting. Like I said, one thing with this deck that I think is kind of, I don't know if it's just something that Expert Playing Card Company does or if it's something that is specific to this deck. There's only 54 cards in this deck. I thought that was a little weird, but it is what it is. Leading Ace of Spades, fairly common. This is a pretty dope. I think this is one of my favorite Ace of Spades with the eyeball in the middle there. Pretty standard pips and indices. There's almost, it's hard to see in the video, but there's almost like a bluish gray tinge to the black here. One thing that's cool that David Blane does is he puts unique faces on his royalty cards. They're either based off of people that he knows. There's the 2 of Diamonds reveal there. They're based off of either people he knows himself. His mom is a fairly common occurrence in there. I don't know who the Jack of Hearts is here. Queen of Diamonds, King of Hearts. So yeah, we'll just run through pretty standard pips and indices on these. If you guys are interested, I can do a side-by-side with a deck of bicycle playing cards. Let me know if that's something you want to see. Leave a comment below. I can arrange for that to happen. I do want to actually, like I said, this is my first deck of Expert Playing Card Company cards, so I will be doing a side-by-side with a couple of other decks that I think are in the same rarity or luxury of these cards. I think the Dan and Dave Private Reserves are a similar feel of deck, but just to give you a feel for what the paper is like. One thing with the Expert Playing Card Company is that these aren't embossed cards, but they almost feel plasticky, if that makes sense. They fan quite well, and I think the long-term fanability of these cards, like, I mean, obviously they've got some kind of coating on them. I think the long-term fanability of these cards is going to be there. And one thing, I've talked to a couple of people. I'm not the only person that's noticed this. I've talked to a couple other guys that handle quite a few cards like myself, and we have all commented on how difficult these cards are to ferro. Like, I mean, these cards I've used for on and off for about a month now, and I found them extremely difficult to get that ferro. They're non-traditionally cut, which I think is a little bit unusual as well, especially coming from a deck put out by a magician. And I don't know if that's just something that the Expert Playing Card Company does or not. They're really, really like tough cards to work, if that makes sense. Like versus the Cardgami cards, which are very soft. These are very, very tough. I can see, especially if you're practicing springs or sprays or dribbles, building a lot of finger strength with these cards, because like I said, they take a lot to manipulate this deck. But I'll do a side by side with the Epic Playing Card cards. Maybe I'll throw a deck of Cardgami cards and a deck of USPCC in there, and you guys can see them all side by side. Anyway, if you guys are new here, be sure to hit that subscribe button, like the video, and comment below. Let me know what decks you would like to see from me. This is actually a user recommendation. They wanted me to do this review. So anyway, we'll see you guys next week for another deck review. Have a good one.